Alignments. They're so much more than just a label on your character sheet. Think of them as a compass for your character's morals, a tool that helps you figure out how they think, act, and interact with the world around them. In the first part of this video, I'm going to dive into the 3 good alignments: lawful good, neutral good, and chaotic good. Break them down with examples from pop culture, D&D, and everyday life to show you why understanding them can make your roleplay so much richer. First up, lawful good. This character believes in doing what's right by following the rules. They love structure, respect authority, and think the best way to make the world a better place is through discipline and a strong moral code. The perfect example is Superman. He's always trying to do good while working within the system. Or Captain America. He believes in law and order, but he'll stand up against that system when it becomes corrupt. In a campaign, a lawful good paladin, well, they might see a thief stealing food to feed their family. It's a tough spot, but the paladin would likely have to turn them in. They believe in the law, even when it's hard, but they'll still try to help that family within the bounds of that law. A lot of people think lawful good is boring, too rigid, but I believe that's a misconception. Their creativity comes from finding clever ways to apply order and ethics to help people. They aren't mindless rule followers, they're principled heroes. Next we have neutral good. These characters are all about doing good, but they don't get hung up on the rules or rebellion. Their motto is simple: do what helps the most people. Their moral compass is their guide, not a set of laws or a desire to break them. So think of Samwise Gamgee. He helps Frodo not because of some grand law, but it's the right thing to do. And his friend, he's just a good person. In a D&D game, a neutral good cleric might travel from town to town, offering healing to anyone who needs it. They won't ask permission from the local guards or challenge their authority. They just help people because, well, they can. It's easy to think neutral good is passive, but they're really not. They're actively working to make the world better. They don't insist on a particular method. Their focus is always on the best outcomes for others. Last in our good trio is chaotic good. This character values freedom and kindness above everything else. They follow their conscience. And if that means breaking a few rules to do the right thing, well then so be it. The classic example is Robin Hood. He breaks the law by stealing, but he does it to help the poor or fight a corrupt system. Or think of characters like Han Solo in the original trilogy. He's a renegade who often follows his own path, but in the end, he chooses to help his friends and fight for a cause that he now believes in. Step over that. In a campaign, a chaotic good rogue might defy a corrupt ruler to free oppressed villagers. They might have to bend laws or ignore orders to do it, but their goal is always to protect or liberate. Don't confuse chaotic good with being selfish or reckless either. The key is their intention. They're driven by compassion and a love of freedom. Not just doing whatever they want. They break the rules, but they always have a good reason. So how do these 3 work together? Well, a lawful good paladin might insist on following the city guard's plan. The neutral good cleric focuses on healing and helping people regardless of said plan. The chaotic good rogue might improvise and break some rules to get the job done a little bit faster. These dynamics are what make a party interesting, creating natural tension, collaboration, and awesome stories in any campaign. Now for those neutral alignments. Neutral characters aren't stuck between good and evil. They're more focused on a different kind of balance. They might value personal ethics, law, or chaos in their own unique way. So understanding these alignments can really deepen your character's philosophy and the choices they make in your next game. Lawful neutral characters live by a code. They believe that order, rules, and structure are the most important things in the world, no matter the moral outcome. They'll follow a system to the letter, whether it leads to good or bad results. A great example is Judge Dredd. Watch Dredd, it's amazing. He's the law, period. He enforces it without personal feelings or mercy. You could also think of a disciplined soldier who follows orders to maintain order, even if the mission is a little bit questionable. In a campaign, a lawful neutral magistrate might enforce a law that punishes a poor, innocent person, simply because that's what the law says. Their loyalty is to a system, not to a moral outcome. It's a misconception that lawful neutral is evil or uncaring. They can be incredibly fair and principled. Their integrity comes from their dedication to a code, not from being mean or boring. Next up, true neutral. These characters avoid the extremes. They don't favor good or evil, law or chaos. They act to maintain balance, preserve nature, or simply follow their own practical code. Think of Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. In some interpretations, he's detached and focused on understanding the universe's balance, not on taking sides. And maybe even a better example could be the Ents from Lord of the Rings, who only act when the balance of the forest is threatened. In a game of D&D, a true neutral druid, well, they might intervene in a conflict to help the balance of a forest. They might help one side, but only to prevent the other from gaining too much power. True neutral characters aren't boring or indecisive. Sometimes staying neutral is an active choice that requires a lot of thought and effort, really, to maintain that balance between two extremes. Finally, we have chaotic neutral. These characters value personal freedom and spontaneity above everything else. They follow their own whims. They aren't bound by laws or morals, and they're not necessarily malicious. The ultimate example is Captain Jack Sparrow. He acts unpredictable, prioritizing his own freedom and a good time. But he can still help others if it serves his personal goals. Or Deadpool is another one, completely unpredictable and self-guided, but he can be surprisingly heroic at sometimes. In a D&D party, a chaotic neutral rogue or bard, well, they might help or hinder people based on what seems most interesting at that moment. Their choices are guided by their personal freedoms, not some moral or legal framework. So it's easy to think chaotic neutral is just selfish or destructive, but they can work with a party and even do good. They just won't be told what to do. They won't allow it. The key is their unpredictability, not their cruelty. So in a party with these three, you might see a lawful neutral character trying to keep everyone on a schedule and organized. A true neutral character mediating and keeping the party from falling into one extreme. A chaotic neutral character introducing a wild card, shaking up plans with a sudden spontaneous idea. These dynamics create tension and unexpected solutions, making for great roleplay. Now for the evil alignments. Remember, evil characters aren't just mindless villains. They have their own twisted philosophies, goals, and ways of seeing the world. Understanding these can make a villain, anti-hero, or morally gray character so much more interesting in your campaign. Lawful evil characters use rules, structure, and hierarchy to get what they want. They follow laws and systems, but only if it helps their own ambition or power. They will use order as a weapon. Vader is a perfect lawful evil character. He enforces the Empire's rules with total discipline to consolidate his own power. Another great example is Tywin Lannister. He's meticulous and strategic, and he uses the system to protect his families and control others. In a campaign, a tyrant ruler might implement strict laws to keep control, punishing opponents while keeping the kingdom in a rigid order. A crime lord might run their operations with corporate-like precision, making sure everyone follows their commands. Lawful evil characters are not chaotic or impulsive. They're usually patient, cunning, and willing to manipulate others strategically. Their evil comes from how they use that order for their own gain. Next is neutral evil. These characters are all about pure self-interest. They do whatever benefits them without worrying about law, chaos, or anyone else's morality. Think Littlefinger. He manipulates everyone around him, advancing his own agenda without caring about loyalty or law. Or, in some parts of his arc, Walter White. He does whatever it takes to build his empire, no matter who gets hurt. In a D&D party, a neutral evil assassin, well, they might take any contract that pays well, regardless of who gets hurt. They might cooperate with a party temporarily, but if it helps them. But betrayal is always on the table if it benefits them more. Neutral evil isn't chaotic by default. They can follow the rules if it's convenient. And they can be just as strategic as a lawful evil character. Their morality is completely and utterly self-serving. And finally, we have chaotic evil. These characters act on selfish desires and impulses, and they often leave a trail of destruction. They value their own freedom above all else. and no concern for laws or rules. The ultimate example is the Joker. He's unpredictable, destructive, and driven by his own twisted desires. Another example might be a marauder in a fantasy setting who just loves to create chaos and terror. In your campaign, a chaotic evil sorcerer might burn a village, betray their allies, or manipulate events just for their own amusement or gain. They thrive on disruption and unpredictability. Chaotic evil characters aren't mindless either. Their actions are unpredictable, but they usually have a goal, even if it's just to cause chaos or pain. They have their own twisted logic. They aren't just randomly evil. So, in a party or encounter, you'd see things like this. A lawful evil villain being a strategic, disciplined leader of a dark plan. A neutral evil character being opportunistic and flexible, willing to betray anyone to maximize their personal gain. Or a chaotic evil character being unpredictable, destructive, and driven by impulses. These dynamics can create all sorts of conflict and plot twists in your campaign. So now that we've broken down all 9 alignments, you might be thinking, why does this matter so much? Well, because alignment isn't a straitjacket, it's a guide. It helps you, the player, make choices instead of asking, what should I do? You can ask, what would a lawful character do in this situation? Or how would a chaotic evil villain react to this? It gives your character a consistent personality, makes their decisions feel real, and creates those classic moments of conflict and collaboration in a party. Alignments aren't about being perfect, they're about a character's philosophy and their journey. They give you a foundation for your character's entire story, and that's what makes for great role-playing. And that's the full breakdown of D&D's 9 alignments. They're not just labels, they're tools to help you understand the character's motivations and how they might interact with the world and their party. If you're a new player creating your first character or DM building a compelling NPC, think about how alignment can add so much more depth, drama, and fun to every session. It makes it easier on you, really. Which alignment do you usually play? Or which one has given you the most interesting role-playing moments? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And as always, guys, this is James from the Dungeon Puffin. Until next time, later.